don't care. They don't discriminate.
My daughter said that I can just blow off the car.
Oh, it's Dexter. So what? Another plan issue? Wait a minute. At least two dead after planes collide mid-air near Arizona Airport. Are you serious? Are you serious? Falling. I'm gonna send this to my sisters. Like, you think I'm gonna go visit you? Look what happened in Arizona. No, this is too much. It's way too much. This is scary. Make you think. Like, why aren't you already putting me screenshot this? It's 5:34. Did you hear me?
I call to order the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting. Rep. Smith here today. First thing on the agenda is the minutes for February 15th. Nothing to say about them. So next we have reports. First up is personnel. Today.
I am
Administrator,
well. How are you? Before I get started, I wanted to introduce Joshana Covington. She's been here for about a month, right? She's my new assistant in my department. So
Glad to have you aboard, Ms. Covington. Nice to have you aboard. Ben Harbor's a great place to work for, and I hope you enjoy your time here and learn a lot. Thank you.
I'm going to do the personnel report. You want to do the income tax report? Okay. All right, from January of 25 to date, in the Human Resource Department, we've been focusing on administrative tasks, recruitment, employment relations, compliance reporting, benefits onboarding, risk management, and workers' compensation. To date, we have a total of 66 employees, one new hire, one termination, two people on medical leave, and we have 5 positions that's currently open. As of yesterday, we had no new resumes for the finance director since we did change the how people actually write the format and things of the sort.
You give an example of the format.
Yes, so previously, anyone could apply for the position without any, if they, I don't care what they do, they could be a janitor and they apply, the resume will automatically go through. So what we did in request by the mayor, put in questions. So therefore, if a person doesn't fit the qualifications, they can't move forward or submit their resume. So therefore, it's like kind of vetting out the people that's not qualified. Save time. But we have no resumes since that time. That concludes the personnel report.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to ask through the chair if the HR services that we use, that we've been using for search, if we have to pay them if we don't use it, or is it just when we use it?
There's no charge, no specific charge for the format. We use Paycor, and that's what we use for all of our openings for the city. So it's not a specific charge for just the finance director. We did not, normally for like the finance director and positions that the commission go through, we use another company, but this time we did not because of the cost factor.
Do we still have a contract with that other
No,
contractor? So just,
we're only using Paycor, that's it. That's the only thing we're actually paying for, but that's not specific, that's just entire to.
thank you. Thank you, Chair.
City income tax.
It's tax season. So therefore, we've been basically focusing on processing the income tax returns. We're still doing annual reconciliations, which includes inputting W-2s into the system, as well as processing the tax returns. But for everyone, if you either work and/or live within the city limits of Benton Harbor, you are subjected to the city income tax. Corporations, businesses, 1%. And for residents, it's 1%. For non-residents, it's 0.5%. But it's been that way since we started. Nothing has changed. But just as a reminder that tax returns are due April the 30th, 2025 of this year. And we're here to answer any questions if anyone have them. But you can actually submit your tax return online. So we do have that new service that you can just do it right online in e-file. You can upload it PDF. We're trying to get away from mail because it takes up a lot of time to open it, go get the mail, open it, process it, especially like, bills, not really bills, but checks and tax returns. But if you can do anything e-file or ACH, that's the best.
How's that working? Are we getting more compliance with?
For e-file? No, we still get a lot of, we still receive a lot of mail.
What the reconciliations, the W-2s.
Yes, and what we're trying to do is that all businesses know, especially W-2s, if you have more than 20, it'd be easier to just submit an e-file, because other than that, Shoshana has to put it in manually, each W-2. So it takes up a lot of time, so anything that you can do electronic is better.
Commissioner Henry?
If I might,
Go.
please.
City manager?
If you would, Lisa, explain to them how that one contract works that works with us on doing e-file and so forth. I suspect they're unaware. It's probably been such a long time.
So we do have like a third party called InSource, which a normal person would not know that because everything is on our website. So if you do go to the City of Benton Harbor website, just go to income tax information. All the way at the bottom, it's in red lettering that you can actually post like payments, file your taxes online. You can pay your income tax bill on that site. But through that site, everything flows through like a third party, which is InSource. So, but that's how you do all the electronic work through our website, just the link at the bottom.
So it's a fee?
It's a minimum fee for payments, but there's no fee to submit your tax return.
Right, thank you. Commissioner Henry?
We've been asking, a couple of commissioners have been asking about the contractors, and income tax, local income tax. And so I would like to see through the chair if someone could answer, where are we at that point? I understand that it was some correspondence sent out, and I'd like to know how was the response, or did we did we move forward with any of it?
So yes, like letters were sent out last year, can't really remember what month it was, but in the last like 2 years, 2 months after that, the revenue did go up quite a bit. I do not have that report, but it was probably like maybe October, November, when the revenue went up after the letters were sent out. However, now since we're focusing on tax season, we're going to be going back to compliance after the tax season, which will be basically, it would be more enforcement, especially since I have help. But, so we should see a boost come up after tax season regarding that. And even this year thus far, because I do get a lot of calls from businesses and things asking questions due to the letters that were sent out. So hopefully, I'm pretty sure we'll see a boost this year regarding tax. But please keep in mind, we do have businesses that still laying people off and moving out of the city as well. So it's like, you have to balance it out.
Is it, so I got an understanding, how far can we go back and ask them to pay income tax, our local income tax? Because some of these people have gotten paid a little of the money for a long time now, and I know we sent letters out, and I'm trying to find out if they are being held accountable to our mandate. And I want to say it's a mandate, I believe, unless I got it wrong. It's a referendum and a mandate. So I want to know if those delinquent people that didn't sign on or didn't pay into it, if they are actually coming up, and is there a time limit that we can go back to it?
Minister
The
Gallagher.
time limit, I believe, is 7 years to go back for income tax. So one of the things that I am going to concentrate, with Manager Shawn is going to concentrate this year, is putting together actually a compliance as well, because that was never done since we had the income tax. So right now, the only thing we can do is send out letters, reminders, threatening letters, but we have no recourse behind it. So we do need to come up with a compliance, which needs to be, of course, approved by the commission overhead, but that goes with everything. So it would go with residents, businesses, corporations, as far as how the enforcement is going to go if people do not pay their city income tax. Many cities do different things. It just depends on the city. Some automatically just put it on their taxes or on their credit report, take them to court for civil court. So it really just depends what resource or how you want to do the enforcement. But we need that basically to make people actually pay.
I just have to go back to my memory. This is a state initiative. I can't believe the state gave us, we followed everything that the state of Michigan did, and they didn't give us no teeth in it. We don't have no teeth to bite them with, and they don't do nothing. I'm just having a problem with that. So if we need to ask our legal or somebody needs to step up on this deal, because we keep crying we ain't got no money, and that's millions of dollars. I just say millions, it might be not, but a lot of money. So I just don't want it to just drop away because it's hard work. If we got time to go back and ask for it, then we need to ask legal if there is some teeth in it. And if it is, let's go to Biden and get our money. Can you get somebody to talk on that?
City manager, will speak on that.
I'm sure there are things that we can do and be bring some recommendations. I'm sure there are some things that we can do, and we'll be bringing some recommendations forward for doing it. One thing for certain that I would recommend is that we start using collection agencies to force the issue, but there are other things that we can do.
Mr. Commissioner Kennard?
Yes, I'd like to ask, as I was speaking on last night's meeting, I asked if the former commissioner, Ms. Ruthie Harold, I talked to you, you were sitting right next to us last night. Okay, I saw you almost like a question on your face, what am I talking about? But I was sitting next to you, the pictures I showed you of the work that was done. I want to know and get information, was there a permit for the work that was done there? And through with the permit,
Commissioner, this is personnel. We talking about the city income tax right
this
now.
here will lead to the city income tax also because this person's got to pay city income tax,
I think
whatever amount of money that he was made from this
I think
job.
you got to talk to the city manager about Southwest Michigan Agency, whoever contracted them to do the work. You talking about the city income tax right
Who's the
now.
one that orders the person to do the work?
City manager, can you speak on that?
Essentially, I do once I sign the form authorizing the contract to proceed.
Well, I can get the information then that I need from him then.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Go ahead, Mr. Duncan.
Can somebody working, and at this time of the year, can they leave their job or be taken away from their job without paying income tax, and then come back later on and get the job back or another job with the same company? Is there a loophole there where they could not have to pay at some point?
So how the city income tax works is if you're a business and you're located within the city of Benton Harbor, you have to withhold city income tax from all of your employees. If you're a business outside of the city limits of Benton Harbor, you do not have to. There's no mandate that you have to withhold city income tax from your employee. It's left up to the employee to do it. You're welcome.
Next, we have the financials. Rhonda's not here today, but I can read what we have. Low cash balances are still an issue. General fund, utility fund are both funds have outstanding operational expense checks. Utility fund cash collections were $380,000 in January, which is high than the last few months. The main reason for higher receipts is an increase in accounts that have been, damn, I lost my glass. Forgive me, I misplaced my glasses, so. But the general fund received $331,000 of the revenue sharing from the state in December. So both funds are still low. Trash collections yesterday, what we spoke on, and you can see how the general fund is paying the utility fund. You can see utility fund is low for now. And just like city manager said, I think he quoted him. He said that they said don't bring the trash because we owe 21,000.
We started off the day unable to go out and pick up trash because the refuse trucks were both full from yesterday when the dump refused to allow them to leave the materials without making that payment first. And that's just how serious some of this cash flow issue is. As I've mentioned before, the city's cash flow is in dire straits in part because of a number of factors that were unanticipated. One, for example, the huge amount that we're paying for insurance is one of them. Another, the tremendous amounts of money that are going toward paying legal bills. The legal bills that are coming in for the suit that Commissioner Kennard is on was not planned for in the budget, and it's also an issue now.
Add, and to add to that, utility fund collections were, I read that there are approximately 355,000 utility accounts past due over 60 days as of 12/31/24. So, Commissioner, any questions? Cash flow is low. Commissioner Henry.
Through some understanding that we did put some mechanism to encourage our citizens to comply by paying. So several years it's been added to the winter property tax if you have an outstanding balance. So that is going out, and if the people are going to save their property, they're going to pay that bill. It's probably over 300 people had their water turned off lately, and I believe a lot of those people are gonna pay their water bill too, just so they can get running water. So I see that we don't have, she wasn't able to give us a up-to-date on utilities, because the last date we got was January 24th. And I'm just saying that there's not enough information as to what is coming in from the special assessments on the property tax, as well as people coming in to pay their bill because their water got turned off. And every time you turn the water off, to turn it back on, you have to pay $50. So I'm believing that there's a lot of money coming in that she wasn't just able to project here. So I'm asking you through the chair, would you go and ask her to give us a up-to-date on the utility service fund? Up to date, yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'm asking for
I can do that.
because that little blank line right there just irritates me to death.
This,
As of January 31, 2025, there's nothing to tell me about it. That really irritates me, so I'm asking you to ask her.
oh, you really want to know how much that blank
I
dot
wanna know
line mean?
How much come in because of all of that
Oh, okay.
activity when we encourage the people to pay
Pay.
their bill?
Right. Thank you, Commissioner Kennard.
My name was brought up about some lawsuit. That was must be talking about the water, but you said.
That's correct.
The time that you were running for your seat, you said that was thrown out. That came out of you, we were at the high school, you said that was thrown out, so what is lawsuit of mine?
That I didn't say nothing about you in the lawsuit.
He did say that, it was
He didn't say it, Mr.
I said it.
about the city manager.
The settlement processes are still ongoing, along with depositions and whatnot and so forth. And the law firm that's involved in handling that for us is sending a bill for every hour they put in on it. And I just happened to mention that's a suit on the water that Commissioner Kennard is on as a complainant.
Slimy, slimy.
The statement of fact.
Any questions? I'll get that information for you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
That you
sir.
needed.
Kind sir.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on. And next we have new business, building fees, schedule, and code enforcement fees. To help us with that, we got Chief McGinnis. Happy birthday to the chief. Chief's day, your birthday? Look at him. He don't look a day older. And we have Cass. Manning. Thank you for coming today.
Okay, so we are finally at the finish line. As you may remember, we had been, actually this goes back to 2023. We're working on a project started in public safety, and it's been to legislative, public safety several times each, and it never actually ended up going to commission. And I accept responsibility for that because, quite honestly, at the time, everything we tried to do and propose was never moved on or a decision made by the previous. So became futile. So we're back with it again. We had talked about, there we go. So this is just a very quick reference to what we're talking about. So we have in the code compliance department, our fee schedule, one was really bad, and it was put directly into the ordinance, which was not a good idea. So we need to remove it from there, or repeal it, whatever the thing does. That's up to the clerk or for that. But our fee, I don't know who set them, what logic was used, if they used an abacus, I have no idea. But they were horribly out of alignment with not only our contemporaries within the county, our comparables, the state of Michigan, you name it. So we had had discussion, I think you guys were both in that discussions in reference to bringing in a standard that is used not only across the state but nationally, which is the UBC, Universal Building Code of 1997, Table A1. So here it's got some examples just to remind you of the disparities of the costs. So you see up top, I got some examples, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. And you see the current city fees are actually a little higher. So the UBC actually favors the smaller amounts. Why this is important is that generally the projects that are done by city residents, homeowners, that are small projects. I talked to our code compliance building officials, and they said they're about 12,000, just about. So when we were looking at models, one of the things we were hoping to do, and I think successfully have done, is make sure like the residents on the very small projects don't get penalized. So UBC, as you see here, on the front end, again, you're talking about maybe a deck, a roof that is cheaper for the residents versus the bigger projects. So you see it at $1,000, we're slightly higher, 5,000, 10,000, 25. But when it gets to 50, that's when we see huge disparity. So one of the things we like about UBC 97 is, again, small projects. For example, if you have a project that's $500 or less, that's like $24 fee. So we like that. Now, as you see, as we get into bigger projects, as you know, we have a lot of things that are going on and will be going on and will be going on. We have a lot of things in the coffers. So as you start to look at these projects, and we got, several $100,000 to, I think, some $1 million projects. Look at the difference of the fees. Now, let me say this. This is not going to fund the code compliance. It's not going to, of course, replace public safety as, of course, the biggest portion of the general fund. But we have to be in alignment with our contemporary municipalities in the county and, again, across the state. So as you see here, we have, I would dare to say, one of the projects that Mr. Little is working on is at least 500,000, if not more. But look at the difference of what that permit would look like if somebody came in with a $500,000 project. Currently, we would charge about $3,300, but the standard with any other community would be, as you see, that $9,855. So we have obviously want to clean up all the things that we can do better in code compliance. And one of the things, again, is to repeal the fees out of the ordinance. And as we've done with everything else in code compliance, and I think portions of fire, we follow either the national and or actually international, national, or state standard. This would be the same thing. So this was the final piece. We talked about it, but we never actually, the ball got dropped in bringing it to the commission, full commission, for a vote to adopt the UBC 97, which again is a standard across the country, and update our fees. Now, with that being said, and I'll pause for any questions, and then we'll talk about other fees that aren't necessarily building or construction fees that, again, we are not even close. So I'll pause right here for this portion. Any questions? Again, we've talked about this for quite a bit, but we did quite a bit of research into this, and we're pretty comfortable with our recommendation.
Okay, I got one question. So I'm a builder coming in. Now, what if I just start building, don't come down here and get a permit? Then what?
That's going to go to him because he's going to talk about that. Just know that you personally, your permit will be denied regardless. But if it's somebody else, that's a great question. I guess a great segue because there has been no penalty or nothing.
So let me just use a recent example from last week. We have a roofer that does work in the city of Benton Harbor. He's not from the city of Benton Harbor. He charged his customer for a permit fee, which was a church in the city of Benton Harbor. He did not come and get a permit, did the work, got caught, then didn't get. Sarah sent him a letter, and he got a permit that way. So that happens all the time. And one of the best things about having the firefighters as the code inspectors is when we're in the fire truck, nobody thinks, and maybe I shouldn't let that cat out of the bag, but we see work being done. So, on the weekends when a roofer's doing illegal roofing, and these contractors know better. So if they are a contractor, it's double the permit fee. If they're a contractor, they're licensed, they know the rules. If you're a resident, you get a warning the first time. And most residents, I give them the benefit of the doubt. Most of them probably didn't know that, hey, that needed that. But if you are a licensed contractor, meaning you are licensed in the state of Michigan, guess what? There's got to be a fee to that. So that would be that. You don't get it, as a contractor, you're getting double the fee, which is the standard throughout the entire system. We're the only one really not charging that.
Contractor got a license, but if the resident go get a permit, it don't work like that, right? The contractor doing the work have to get the permit, not the resident.
Well, it depends what it is, but you're right. There are certain things a resident can do on their own, but there's other things that require a contractor. We don't want to punish the residents of Benton Harbor, but if a contractor's making money off the backs of our residents and then pocketing the money that was supposed to go to a permit, I'm sorry, there's nothing other than that needs to be punished. And like he just mentioned across the table, that's fraud.
Lock 'em up.
Commissioner Kennard.
Back to the question that I was asking. Did the person that did, the persons that I was talking about, the former commissioner, did he have a permit? Although he was doing that?
Yes, just a question?
Did I have your attention?
That's your question, this man? This,
I
okay,
wanna know-
city manager, can you respond to Ms. Kennard?
Have to have a permit that he orders to go out and do the work. Do they have to have a permit?
The city had not been requiring permits for the contractors doing these home rehab jobs. That was the case when I came to the city. It's continued to be. I frankly am intending to change that, although I do recognize a logic in it because basically we're paying it regardless.
Thank you. Ms. Westnut?
I heard you last week, and you're doing an awesome job.
Mike, because they can't hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
I know you're not Ethel Clark Griffin, but. Okay, actually, you're doing an awesome job, because actually, I was over code enforcement 97, 98, which the fees look pretty much like what you're saying. But at that time, we didn't have the industry that you all have now, and we bought in over $400,000 for the year just for code enforcement, and you're on track. But the fire did commercial, then we had other officers to do the residential. And anybody doing, back then, anybody doing business in the city of Benton Harbor had to be bonded. So, anybody who did work in Benton Harbor should be bonded. So if a contractor is doing, even on the grant portion or whatever she's talking about, they should be bonded, and there should be a permit taken out. I think that states that in the city charter. I'm not sure what y'all have now, but we had a building department. We need a building inspector. You have code enforcement. So all those things should be enforced. And McGinnis, I know you said that public safety can be funded through code enforcement. But from what I look at now, and I like to meet with y'all like in a private meeting too, I think that you could bring in over $1 million just in code enforcement based on what you have now, based on the past. And that could fund the building department. We need a plumbing inspector, we need an electrical inspector, we need a building inspector. And then, of course, fire is with code enforcement. Working together, you can do an awesome job. Because it took us months to get everything set up and done. Because it was a lot of things that wasn't done the year before. The year before I took over, they bought in $32,000. Now, how you go from $32,000 to $400,000? There's a lot of things missed that the fire department is doing now, which is great. So I just think that we need to follow the city charter, get the necessary people we need, bring the income that we have. Because I asked a question a couple of months ago: how much money have we bought in permits? Because with the water project that we had, almost every house in Benton Harbor, they said that 2,600 residents pay the trash bill. So at 2,600, how many permits were taken out for the plumbing? How many was taken out for electricals? My electrical was grounded. I didn't have a final inspection on plumbing. So where are those permits? And whether it's state, federal, or not, even if the U.S. Post Office build a building, we can't go by our, as code enforcement officer, I reviewed the blueprints. We couldn't go by it was Southern Building Code. We couldn't go by our building code. We had to let the federal do theirs, but they still have to take a permit out.
You said a lot. And
I'm not. That's not all I have to say. But I'm just. I
Yeah, no,
know I
let me-
need to meet with you all in private.
yeah,
to
no,
go
no,
over a lot
I was
of
going to
things.
say that. So one of the things, so you've touched on a lot of things that are our long-term goals. For example, you mentioned plumbing inspector, electrical inspector. Right now, we're pushing people to the state. We don't have it internally, which we can get back. But before we do that, we got to get the shop in order now. Now, and I'm not sure. What's your name, ma'am?
Glenda Wisnat. Glenda Wisnat.
Oh, Miss Wisnat. So one of the things I would love to sit down with you, because through the years, there has not been a lot of institutional knowledge passed down to code compliance. It's been a revolving door, not really great leadership. And then I learned it was in the charter under public safety. That's when I figured out, like, oh shoot, I guess we should figure this thing out. So there's been a lot of things that have not been passed down that we would love to sit down and learn from you and take some of your suggestions, because code compliance can definitely fund itself. And if you were making money like that back then, that's a possibility to be able to have some success here. obviously us as public safety can't have the intention on making money, but we need to be self-sufficient and we need to be efficient in what we were doing. And again, there's a lot of institutional knowledge that wasn't passed down that we do so much research because we started from scratch. We've had people that came in here that were running the department for years that weren't training staff. They weren't making sure they were getting credentialed. So as of right now, you mentioned the bonding. I'm assuming, and he could probably speak to it. So right now, with our current building official, whenever there's a permit that's made, they immediately go to Laura and see if that person is a licensed, certified contractor. And if not, we reject those permits. So I believe, and that's where you can jump in, that if you are indeed a licensed contractor by Laura, that you do have to be bonded. So again, that was something that we did not know until we again tripped into it because, again, there's nothing that's been passed down. So before you leave, I'll either get a card or give you my number. I'd love to sit down and learn from you as much as we can.
Well, you mentioned, and I was just saying that this is a project, if you're getting federal funds to rehab houses, there had to be guidelines too. And I'm just going on, I don't really know the situation about the house. It's not done right, but it doesn't matter that they have to fall in compliance also. And she just mentioned you go back 7 years. I don't know if that's on permits or not, but that, because if you're giving work to people that's not bonded, how do you know they're going to do good work?
So let me clarify just a couple things on that. Yes, if they're licensed, they're bonded. So that piece is true. We do have our own electrical inspector. He's very good. He did do every one of the Clement houses so Clement Plumbing was the contractor. They did get a permit, and every one of those got inspected. Plumbing, mechanical is through the state, so we have no purview in that. But electrical inspector, our guy is fantastic and is out doing these all the time. They've slowed down because most of that money, I think, is they're moving into a different grant cycle. But so those all did get permits, and
How much were the permits?
most of those were like $40 permits. They were, and maybe some of, well, there's a $75 permit fee, and then for the work was probably 40. So, total $110, $120 for the permit fee.
So that went into general funds?
I think that's how that works. Yeah.
I mean, because if you're looking at $17 for water at 2,600 people, that came to 45,000. So at 40 and 50, we should have more money in the surplus. I'm just looking at the numbers and figures. I mean, we don't know the bottom line because I can't say my minor is accounting. So I'm just off the top of my head at $40 at 2,600 residents. That's quite a bit of money. That's enough to put back in general fund to help the water department with the trash or something. It's in general funds. You take from that fund to help pay the bills that you need to pay. And I'm just asking those questions. Like I said, I know that you're doing, and I know the police department really has done a great job in the last couple of months, probably before that too. But when I took over code enforcement, we had 1.5 cars. I have to use the police chief car. You're laughing. We had one car that was stopped. I mean, am I telling the story? I have to use Marcus Watson's car. Eddie won't let us use his car. We had one car that would work some day, and some day we had to push it. We had 3 inspectors. We had 4. One moved to Dallas, and then it was myself and 2 other inspectors. I trained for HUD. I did all of that. But we got it done, and I know you guys have a lot more than what we had.
All right. Thank you. She gonna sit down and talk with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll get your car, because I know this is, we just need to discuss some things.
And I just want to make one clarification, because we say police, fire, code, but we're like this. And I always use this triangle. So in public safety, either you're police and fire, or you're fire and code. So none of us can survive without one leg of the triangle. So we're all public safety. That's the best.
Yeah, we worked under public safety. I mean, if we had fire that did commercial, I did the rest. Well, I did commercial too, because you guys were really busy back then, so. But I don't see what the finance and the money is coming in for these permits, where it's at, because that we shouldn't be at $40,000 or in the budget.
yeah. Thank you, Ms. Wisner. All right, you can continue, Chief.
So we would just ask that you guys recommend that this goes to the commission for final vote, but then we do have the Part B of the other fees that he was starting on.
Yeah, so the other fees are, and let me just give an example. Gas stations that sell liquor. We have several gas stations in town that sell liquor,
Several.
the majority, okay? I was trying to be nice. Maybe there's one or two, okay? But those, so far, we just ran a report last week, and we had a meeting this afternoon. Most of those gas stations that sell liquor have not paid their gas station fee or their liquor fee. That's because of a very broken system that we have that we're replacing, so that we're not gonna have this issue anymore. And we're going after them. They're gonna pay, and they're gonna pay a late fee. But we have to collect not only, but we have to up these fees too, just the inspections alone. And when you think about, and I was thinking about this today, on this liquor thing, the number of police calls that we make to these, the impact these have on our funding, I mean, they're using the system, so because of what they sell, and I hate that, I mean, that sounds terrible, but it kind of makes sense, right? And we have to understand the impact on that. So these are really, if you want to look at them, they're impact fees. And that's what they do. So it's basically just bumping our fees in line with the national standard. A lot of these landlords are not from Benton Harbor. Once again, they're taking advantage of Benton Harbor residents. Have another one this week. The place is literally collapsing around these people. The medics called us out there and said, you guys got to do something with code enforcement. They're refusing us to get in, so we're going to have to, go through that to get in. But this is a quality of life and a life safety issue. And if we look at things that way, then I think it all lines up, honestly, with what we're doing. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Find out about none of this stuff until some kind of serious accident or something happened, then
Well, and we've had 10 fire fatalities in 5 years in 6 different fires. Every single one of those, other than the last one, so 9 of 10 were in rental properties that had issues.
how long has these stations not paying the gas and the liquor and
So I'm embarrassed to say this, but just remember, I only took over last year. I don't think that they've been charged in quite a while. But we have to change that, right? We have to hold people accountable.
Pump fees, pool table fees, campus fee.
the
And we have found several fees in the ordinance that we haven't, I couldn't tell you when, maybe back when she was there, honestly.
bi-
Gas pumps,
these businesses know this.
gaming machines, lotto.
Lotto, all these things are,
We know there's a lot of machines in these stores that we're not charging anything for years.
and once again, the majority of the people that own these are not residents, and they're making money off the backs of our residents.
Every time.
And the city is losing.
Commissioner Singleton?
Like fire sprinkler fees or lawn sprinkler? So that's a water department fee, and there is a separate tap fee for that. And there is a separate fee for those. But those are on the water department side of things, not on on this side.
But we haven't, there's no inspection. We should be inspecting these systems there, so.
We are, they're part of our commercial inspections, but there is no inspection fee. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, this is another fee, and maybe we need to look at a commercial fire inspection fee in addition to the business registration fee, because honestly, the business registration fee covers our paperwork. I mean, when you look at it, the staff time involved,
One of the things that do we have a rental registration fee and inspection yearly?
yeah, and once again, it was not something we were very good at up until this year. We had a 75% increase in 2024 in rental inspections. This week alone, we've done like 100 rental inspections because they're in these apartment buildings going door to door. Harbor Towers was over the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, they were in Harbor Towers all day. But here, once again, there were certain apartments, they couldn't get in because the roaches were so bad.
Well, that's a ticket for, that's a violation. That's one of the fees that you're going to add, that's going to bring up the income. And with rental registration, that's commercial or residential. And like these fire and dilapidated houses, because I had one guy that actually, I asked the judge if this guy could live in his house for 30 days. He said, no, I'm going to do better. He put him in jail. I didn't want him to go to jail. But it's like, I don't know if you get to that point or not.
So that's another problem we have. We have a person right now, two people, living in condemned homes. One home has no power, no water, no electric. It's a burnout. It was a fire on 4th of July, 2022. That individual, we just had another fire in December in that home. The judges in Berrien County refuse to do anything with these burnouts and condemned. Their theory is if they own the property, they're entitled to be there. How that is fair to any resident or anybody, I don't agree with that. That's a life safety issue. How can you live in a burned out house?
But there's an ordinance, and like you say, you all are doing fact finding because you just took the position. There's laws that cover you on that, and that's probably how he put the guy in jail. I mean, I just asked if the guy could just
There are.
live
They
in a
won't
house.
enforce them in Berrien County. This is a deeper issue than Benton Harbor. The Niles Fire Chief does the same thing. Him and I are very close friends. He has the same issue in Niles that we have. The judges won't enforce, they do not look at an ordinance the same as they look at as a criminal violation. So
Well, I don't know what they
our
looked at
hands
back
are,
then,
and
because they
Mr.
called-
Little and I and the director and the clerk have talked about this. It's a terrible position to be in.
No, I mean,
I
I
hope
don't know,
not.
I'm sure they've changed judges and things since I was over that department, but that's not what we was asked, because there's a process and a step to get them to court. And I don't know if you go to the state attorney generals over them, because there has to be something, but I didn't ask for that, I just asked if the man lives in his house, because he was horrible. And the
It's-
judge put him in jail, I didn't ask for that. He did it, so I think that, you just got a lot of work cut out, and we'll get,
We're only scratching the surface right now. That's all we are.
Mr. Henry?
I agree that some of these fees are definitely out of order and they need to be put in the 2025 year. I have a problem with the mowing abatement. It's at $200 now and they want to set it for $250. Contractors don't have nowhere near $250 per lot. We're making a lot of money on that. And a lot of it is not from someone that lives outside of the city. Everyone is being affected by it when it comes to grass cutting. I always thought $200 was extreme, but now I'm looking at $250, and I think that's extreme. For the grass cutting, and that is another special assessment that will go on your property tax. So right now, I'm only speaking about myself personally and how it affected me as a property owner in the city of Benton Harbor. And I've had to fight it a lot of times, and not just because I'm a commissioner, but because it wasn't done properly. And so I don't know what to tell these guys about what's going on, but if they're in charge, then they have to be accountable too about this lawn mower abatement. There's another one, rummage sale and garage sale. They got it at $15 currently now, but that's not really true. It's zero because some residents got together and thought that we were being penalized at 15 and they changed it. the body changed it, and it's at 0. The rules didn't change. They have to ask for permission to, well, they don't have to ask for permission, but they have to notify the city when they're having it. And it's 0.
Yes,
Just on that point, I was raised on garage sales. So me personally, we're not accepting fees on garage sales. I think that's a residence, I think that's their ability to have that if they want one. So, I know the last year people have come in to the application. I'm like, there you go. And we haven't been, and I don't think we should take fees for garage, sales.
So the only time we've taken a fee that I've been in is when people have had it's been like junk sales. And I'm not saying residents, I'm saying these people have come and set up like on a street corner, almost like a vendor peddling their goods. That's where we've taken the fees from. And it's like used stuff, like used shoes, used clothes. So it kind of has that garage sale, but it's not. These people are trying to, once again, make the money off people's backs type thing. So, but we've never charged. So we could even clarify that if you wanted to, or however you want to put that. Or we just charge them as a vendor instead.
Yeah.
And garage sales should not be a daily or weekly event.
No, there's some stipulation of how many times you can do it, how long you can do it. There was some thought put in it, but the bottom line is to the residents is 0. And that's what I like to see it stay at 0.
I will reclassify that before this gets to the commission. I will clean that up for you.
Okay.
Now, the $250 is easy to avoid. Just do what they're supposed to do and you don't have any fee on it.
Yeah,
That's what it's designed to do, is to get people to do what they should do.
Yeah.
We're not interested in making the $250. We'd much rather they just took care of their yards.
well, there is a problem. I mean, anytime that I have 2 lots together and they tell me they cut 1 lot, and I didn't cut but 1 lot, and so I'm just saying there is some problems, and I'm only going from my own personal experience with this. There's some problem in that lawn cutting, and if we're using contractors to do it, and they're only getting paid $35 a lot, and we're getting 200, and it's going directly, it's coming directly from the landowner. May it be a Ben Harbor resident or somebody else from out of town. For somebody from out of town, I could see that, but it's just causing a hardship for a lot of people, and I'm only speaking for myself. I had to fight all the time to keep that from going on my property tax. I just looked at my property tax, and there's one other one, a lot. But how do I cut a lot right next to it and not to cut the lot, both of them together? I don't do that. And it's not fair, and I don't know, I'm gonna fight, but somebody else might just look at their winter property tax and pay the bill. Hardship after hardship. So I'm just saying, I don't know what we have to do about it, but I'm not sure if I'm definitely in agreement to go up on that lawn abatement. I'm just not sure of that. And then I want to bring this to your attention again, Chair and Co-Chair and City Rep, that we have 3 entities that are zoning administrators, and they're all contracted. And when I got to reading their contracts, I see a lot of money that these people, I call them carpetbaggers, because they come in and fill the carpet bag and keep going right back to their community. And I know that sometimes when we're in a strait for money, we have to go and subcontract this work out. but it's a lot of money, and some of them don't even pay us income tax. They have it written up in their contract that they don't want to pay us income tax. It's a lot of things. If you read those contracts, you ask yourself, who was looking out for the Ben Harbor residents' interests in these contracts? And I know some of these jobs are probably hard to fill, because most of them work for more than one municipality. So I don't know how we're going to stop carpetbaggers other than to use our own citizen, grow them up to get in those positions. Those positions are there. They're not going to go away. We have to find some way to grasp our people and train them up for those positions. That's the trash man, from that to the zoning administration or the building official or the engineers, whoever it is taking that money out of City Ben Harbor and taking it away. So when I saw those contracts, I just felt bad that nobody really looked out for Ben Harbor's interests, because it's mandatory. The HR just stood there and told us it's mandatory for everyone to pay income tax, and for one family to have two incomes coming out of Ben Harbor and don't pay no income tax. I have big problems with that. And if we don't pay attention, if we don't listen to each other, yeah, I know. But here I am now. If we got something to talk about, let's talk about that.
I'd like to remind people of something that I'm sure everybody has forgotten. You know, I only rejoined the city here October 2020. That first couple of years I was here, we were using people to do some of these inspection services and building work. And they had contracts where 50, 80% and whatnot, or whatever the fee was, went to them. And some of them didn't even do a written report. Because I've sat up here in planning commission meeting and have somebody throw their hand up, oh, that's okay. And I said, what the heck's going on? What do you mean, that's okay? Put something in writing, you know. But they weren't even doing that. And they, when I started looking for him, couldn't even find the guy until I run into him looking for his check. So believe me, what's working now, you're getting great service from people who are committed to doing what they're doing and doing it well and documenting it where it can stand up in court or whatever. It's one hell of a lot better than what you had.
All right, thank you, city manager. All right.
And I agree that it is a lot better, because those carpetbaggers was taking it out all, and we didn't get none of it. But I'm looking forward to grow up some people out of the ashes and bring them into their position. It might be 3, 4 years from now, but if we don't start that process now, then we will keep these carpetbaggers. And every time one got a contract, they said it was 90 days. We have not touched it since then, per my knowledge. So I know Mr. Little is busy, but somehow we have to pay attention to the timelines that we have already set and to hold these people accountable. And from what I know, they're very learned and they know what they're doing, but we need to do better for the people.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Kennard.
Okay, I'm glad to hear it said that it's documented, so I know information that I'm asking for. Now that there's more documentation and things in, it'll be easy for me to get that information. So I'm really glad to hear that part, so.
Thank you, Ms. Kennard. Thank you. We'll move this forward. Go ahead, Clerk Moore.
I need something to add to that. So as the chief had said, this came in 2023. It went to public safety, legislative, and personnel and finance. And the fees were the last portion of the amendment to Chapter 11 of the Code of Ordinances. So this will complete that amendment. So you'll see the amendment for the ordinance come in front of the commission as well as a resolution to establish the fees.
It'll be March 3rd for the commission meeting. Thank you, Chief and Cass, for the great job y'all been doing, and Clerk Moore, Assistant City Manager. Thank you. Mr. Duncan.
These businesses, what's the soonest, they're, what do you guys call it, a timeline or something you call it, for getting the money from these businesses, what are delinquent, way past due? Is there a way to get that into our coffers? I'm just using you guys' words. As soon as possible, and that's, I'm asking you, but I'm asking you to ask the chief and his partner over there, can we get that sooner than soon?
First, it goes to the commission, March.
I'm asking you to ask them. I don't want your answer, please. Please, would you ask them?
First, can I just say this? First, it comes to the commission. And so how long, city manager, will it take in effect? How long would it take? The commission okays it. If the commission okays it, March 3rd, when does it take in effect?
No, it gotta be newspaper though.
The ordinance will have to be published in the newspaper, but the fee schedule can proceed. Yeah, because the ordinance will just take the current fee schedule, that section will come out, but by resolution, the city commission will be passing the fee schedule, so that can start immediately.
Okay, you have to do all of that before you get all of these way past due bills from the business owners or whoever it is?
I don't know, can you answer that, Chief? Past due? I don't know how far you.
What's the soonest you'd be able to get that from them?
I don't, the past due we're working on right now, Mr. Duncan, I don't think we'd be able to retroactive the fees for past due since they've already been invoiced for last year. The fees would only be for going forward. So like June 1st, rental registrations go out for the year. So all the rental fees would take in effect June 1st, but all the other fees would go in effect immediately. So it takes us a day to update the system. So if it passes March 3rd or whatever day, by March 4th, at close of business, it would be updated in our system.
So they get away with all of that past due money and we start.
No, we still can hit them with a past due fee, it just won't be as much. There's still a past due fee from last year, it's reduced, but we can still hit them with a past due fee.
That was my question. Thank you.
Right, meeting adjourned, great meeting.